Food supply, average city, community has at most about 2 weeks worth of food on hand. You go without any significant caloric intake after about 2 weeks, then you start becoming more susceptible to disease and dying. Think back to the rooftops of homes in New Orleans with people holding up signs, "Help me." Suppose they'd had a week or two worth of supplies there until help arrived. How many hundreds of people died horrible deaths in New Orleans that could have been saved if basic supplies were on hand?
Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, I wasn't going to be putting up a video today. I just came by to go ahead and publish the video that I had ready for today, which is a payday prep. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. I put it up earlier this morning. There's a few things on there that I don't think I've ever talked about that are very important for you all to get, for us all to get now, ladies and gentlemen, before we enter into this world war that our gracious leaders are trying to get us into, and also before we enter into the next great or greater depression. Ladies and gentlemen, I have something to talk about that I think is very important, especially for the time in which we are living today. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you're wrong if you want to take care of your family. I hear it so many times. "Oh, you're a hoarder. You don't need all that stuff. The government's going to take care of us. There's going to be a white knight that comes to your rescue when everything goes wrong. The police will be there on time. Your Social Security is going to be there for you when you retire. Don't worry about it." But you're not told that even though your Social Security is there, that it will not buy you nearly what you were able to buy while you were paying into it for the last 40 years of your life. You are not wrong for wanting to take care of your family. If you are the provider of a household, be it a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. Do not listen to people when they tell you that you are wrong for wanting to secure your family's future. Are you wrong for putting away money for 40, 50 years so that you can have a good retirement? Then how in the world can you be wrong for putting away calories to ensure that during hard times your family can continue to sustain their needs? Same thing with everything else. So when you watch one of my payday preps, ladies and gentlemen, those are things that I'm thinking about, that maybe different people may have those needs. Doesn't mean that every single person is going to need what I'm getting, but what I'm getting for myself may give people ideas as to some of the things that maybe they didn't think about, and they should maybe consider getting some of these things to put away. How many people think of putting away electrical cords, extension cords? Probably not many. I bet you that a lot of you that are listening to this, if you're not within the preparedness community, meaning that maybe you just came on to this video to check it out, many of you probably only have enough electrical cords for what you may need right now. But consider a life and or a world where we have regular blackouts, where we have regular brownouts, where you're going to have to rely on a secondary source of electricity like a small generator or a solar generator. Do you think that you may be needing more extension cords, electrical cords, whatever it is that you may call it, for whatever country you're in? Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know which kind to get? Educate yourself and make sure that you get the right ones. And that's just an example. That's just me going off the cuff, ladies and gentlemen. This is not scripted. It's just how I feel. I see it so often, and I see such a negative attitude from people. Believe it or not, if you are in the first world, meaning that if you live in one of these Western nations, i.e. the US, a country in Europe or something like that, you're still doing relatively well compared to the rest of the world. So you still have time to get prepared, because ladies and gentlemen, the goal is to take us into third world status. If you're living in a first world status nation now, the goal is to turn your nation, i.e. the United States, one of them, into a third world nation. And look at what's happening to the US with how all of our systems are being overwhelmed via a strategy that's called the Cloward and Piven strategy. If you haven't seen that video, go take a look at the video where I talk about Cloward and Piven strategy and see what it is that they've done to our country, the United States of America, and other Western nations, systematically destroying it from within. You have to get prepared, because if you're not prepared, ask yourselves a question. Do you think that that same government that is allowing the Federal Reserve to print money like a drunken sailor is coming to your rescue? Do you think that that same government, which is allowing our border to be invaded from all over the world, not being vetted, do you think that that government is coming to help you? Do you think that those three-letter organizations that have already pledged their allegiance to someone other than we, the American people, are coming to help you? Ladies and gentlemen, it is just common sense that you have you, yourself, your family, hopefully your immediate community to help you in times of need. But you have to prepare for yourselves. That way you can be able to help your community as well. Because there will be those amongst your community members that don't prepare for whatever reason, right? And I'm not telling you what to do, but I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my best to prepare for my family and my community as well. You do what you want, ladies and gentlemen. But take a look at this. I'm going to go through this very quickly, and you can come back and revisit this at any time. I will be leaving the link on the description of the video so you can come back and take a look at it. This is a pretty long, I would call it like an essay, but it is very well worth reading, ladies and gentlemen. It is worth your 5 or 10 minutes to read this, depending how fast you read. Me, I read pretty slow. This comes from Mr. Van Greyers, all right? The Cycle of Evil, he writes. Remember how I'm always telling you that everything in life, in my opinion, is about cycles. We are a cycle. We are a formula. We are nature. We are Fibonacci, if you want to look at it that way. We are on the inevitable road to perdition of the world economy and financial system, ending in a potential global conflict of uncontrollable proportions. I've stated so many times in the past that it comes down to money. People don't like to hear that. It is triggering to some people because they were raised to say, oh, money is the root of all evils. Well, no, it's not. It's the love of money, ladies and gentlemen, that is the root of all evil. It's the love of what it can do for you and the power that it can bring you. But if you use money, which is a tool like any other tool, for good things, then in my opinion, good things will happen. He writes that evil begets evil as the cycle of evil hits countries at the end of an uncontrollable debt expansion. And ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when fiat currency takes over your nation. It allows rulers to actually be rulers instead of servers. Look at your government. Let's talk about the United States of America. We had a government in which we had servers, where we elected people to go do a job that they really didn't want to do. It wasn't very profitable. It was kind of a nuisance for them to go and serve in Congress. And now we have people who spend millions and even billions in order to get a title in which we are supposed to be the served and they're supposed to be the servers. Fiat currency allows a government to be your ruler instead of them using real money, which allows us to be their ruler and them our servers. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. No matter what country you live in or what government you live under, do you really feel that you are their ruler? And do you think that they think that? Do you think that your government officials see you as being above them? All of this is because of the financial system that we have, because they can do whatever they want without our permission, as long as they can print out of thin air and steal your wealth via the tool of inflation. The pattern throughout history has always been the same. Countries and empires without fail become victims of their own success. As real growth ceases, a country starts to finance expansion with debt until it can no longer afford the interest on the debt. Never mind the capital, which it has no intention to repay. Same thing with the United States of America. I believe I was reading an article early this morning where it said that by 2031, I believe it is, that the United States intake of taxes will equal that of our outtake of benefits, entitlements, and interest. Not even defense, just benefits, entitlements, and interest is going to equal what the United States takes in taxes. Where is the rest of everything that the U.S. spends money on gonna come from? Well, you got it. It's gonna come from debt at your expense, ladies and gentlemen. At some point, the people fearing a war or tea attack will approve of the leaders' fear-mongering by supporting unlimited debt issuance. This is happening right now, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, you can see it happening right now where we're issuing debt more and more and more every year. Heck, every month to support others that are outside of our borders and not to support ourselves. Neither the U.S. nor Europe is taking a single step to remedy the situation. Both are now in the cycle of evil, of more deficit, more debt, higher interest costs. What he's trying to say is that it's like the snake eating its own tail, ladies and gentlemen. And the cycle of evil, he says, ladies and gentlemen, is also accompanied by decadence and moral decline, where leaders invent problem, Hegelian dialectic, ladies and gentlemen, have you heard me talk about that lately? That are not real, such as climate change, ESG, forced juicy juices, and incarcerations, 25 new genders and other work issues, etc. It is the fall of Rome. It is history repeating itself. Maybe not exactly the same, but pretty much. Few Americans understand that the next stage of the cycle of evil is about to hit us. And it is, ladies and gentlemen, it's hitting us right now. And he says that even fewer Europeans have a clue that they will be dragged down into the same debt collapse quagmire. I think that Europe will fall way before the US, but that's just my opinion. The next stage will involve many banks failing, more than the FDIC or government can afford to save without destroying both the currency and the bond market. Remember, keep your eyes on the debt market, ladies and gentlemen, and the banks. That's what's going to tell you everything. Once the debt market and the banks start just collapsing left and right, you have limited time to get your final preparations in order. And he says that most investors have already realized that they don't want U.S. debt at any interest rate. So that means higher interest rates, more debt issuance as the cycle of evil eventually turns into a final collapse. The cycle of evil contains more cataclysmic components than any similar cycles in history. He's talking about this cycle, ladies and gentlemen. As I've often said, we are going through a cycle that's happened before, except that with the technology that we've had in the last 100 years or so, this one is going to be much greater than the past. Why? We've allowed ourselves as humanity to bring so many resources from the future to the now using this fiat currency system that is going to end. As Mr. Von Greyer says, it will be cataclysmic, ladies and gentlemen. So don't listen to those people that call you names, that say that you shouldn't be preparing. When you hear these words come out of their mouths, take a look at your children, take a look at your family, take a look at your community, and then ask yourselves, what is the right thing to do? You know who are the real hoarders and who are the people that are really in the wrong? It's those people that wait for a crisis to occur, and then they decide to go to the supermarket and empty the shelves. Those are the real hoarders. Those are the real people that we should be talking about, saying you shouldn't be doing this. You should be prepared instead. But ladies and gentlemen, that's not going to change anytime soon. All you can do is do what's right for you and your family, and then whatever else happens to everyone else, so be it. They made their decision. Having said that, I hope you get something out of this. I want to say God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.